You know, that was a time where I lost my brother. My dad is going through his own sickness with cancer. And, you know, I lost my grandma and my brother in the same year. And it really shook me. And I kept coming back to drawing. I kept coming back to painting. I kept coming back to just everything to do with art and the creativity and the inspiration from it. Truly became a healing component. And then when I recognized that and I connected that it doesn't just heal me, it heals other people that sees it as well, I gravitated to art being something that doesn't belong to me. During that time, being at home, being with my family and using art to be self-therapy more or less, I realized that it is therapy just in general. And if I choose, I can create art that not only heals people but maybe change people. And the more I thought and the more I had ideas about how powerful it could be, it helped me as a businessman, because now it's not just about money. And I think I always struggle with that. I can never price my art. I can never sell anything. You know, my mama asked me to do something, I'm supposed to charge her, and it wasn't clicking. But once I realized that if I get paid, if I get my value for my time, that gives me the ability to create even more. That gives me the ability to help even more. And it became less about dollars and it became more about, this is a life that I want to live. I want to be able to create my own universe. I want to see what I want, and especially if it's for the betterment of myself or for those around me, those that I love and don't love, just making the world a better place, not to be cliche, but simply that mission, then I have to be doing it. And I would say that's when it really clicked. And that was about 4 years ago. And that's when the business degree and all of these years and all of these wonderful people supporting me, it just blended. And now you got me right now. You know. Awesome. And yeah. And so, you know, I've always done poetry and visual art, bursted out from that, and I've always look for ways to try to blend the two. So, you know, Roxborough, and it's always poetic to me. Like I just feel like Roxborough is my story. Like every time I think about where I need to go or how I'm going to get there or who do I need to call, it always comes back home to Roxborough. Yeah. So it's a blessed place. It can, you know, like I always say, it can be better, and it will be better when we put the work in, but it's already a blessed place. Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell me, you mentioned that you realized that it has to be basically a service. You have to position yourself to be a service to others. Where does that mentality come from?
My parents. Yeah, it definitely comes from that same upbringing, that Roxborough teaching. What you put out into the universe, you get back. And I had held back a long time, not talking to folks, just being an introvert, being in my own world. It's where the art comes from, the ability to imagine and daydream, but it's something that I have to remind myself, something I had to learn over the years to, be in the present moment, because those people that you connect with, those people that you are supposed to serve, just like you, have a finite time. They're not going to be there forever. And there have been missed opportunities. Those, my brother is a key component of that service. I saw what happens when you don't connect. I saw what happens when you like, man, we should get together and do this, and that doesn't happen. And you truly do lose something. And it kept coming back as I didn't just mess that up for myself. I messed that up for a lot of other people. They were supposed to see me and my brother do art. They were supposed to see me and my brother smile and do gigs. That was something that they needed to see. I wasn't prepared to serve them in that way because I wasn't prepared to be that happy or generate that type of connection. So it never happened. That doesn't mean that the possibility of it being in somewhere else now, because I still believe that the energy is out there in the universe. But yes, it was moments like that, seeing it in a formula, seeing others treat their purpose as a service, that is something that they do for their community, for their family, and quite respectively, the payoff from that, like it is a payoff. Like I did see people who maybe they didn't tell my parents in a year, but in a year later it's like, hey, thank you so much for that $150. And you sit there and you hear a story about where that $150 took that person, and what that would have happened if they didn't give it to them. And it's just like, okay, I don't think so. And connecting that to my art, with my own losses, and just seeing others say the same about like, oh, I should have did this, or maybe I could have did that with my time. It really sunk in, like, I have to do this. This is not just, money or profit. This is a service. This is for others. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so about 4 years ago, you developed your business, Just Jenus Art.
Yes.
Tell us about Just Jenus Art.
Yes. Genius, I spell with a J. I spell it slightly different completely, Jenus. I love hip hop. I love, my brother was a musician and he gave me a lot of hip hop culture, and it's just been with me. So I just love the ability just to remake, a word, give yourself a nickname. My family is known for nicknames. I'm Peanut in my family, and we all have our own little family nicknames. And me and my brother and my father all have a J initial, and Perry, so it's JP. So it's, if you call the house, you say, hey, I want to talk to JP. Yeah, well, which one? So I wanted that again. The J, Just is definitely me. But what makes me me, and it still freaks me out to say it sometimes, but I am a genius. I truly am, and I have to really humble myself, but it reminds me of that. And if I put that out as the first thing, I have to own up to it immediately. Because people look, they like, oh, okay, like, what does that mean? And well, I'm an artist and I do this, and like I said, to see lights turn on and to have your business flourish is not an overnight thing. It definitely started, like I said, all the way back in school, and little mini transactions, and not really knowing, how to, chasing people down. Oh yeah, I'll give you the money on third period, and then 3 months later, you still like, where my $10 at? And that can still happen now. You know what I'm saying? and understanding business model, being able to apply everything that I learned at St. Aug, not just from the classrooms, but from kind of continuing the same thing, working on projects with groups. I was doing poetry with the Falcon Poetry Club during that time, so hosting events. I would, make the flyer. I was with a party promotion group, so that was one of the things that I offered, with graphic design and making people's flyers for events and making banners, and so the art was there, and to the Just Genius was the clicking of it. I always loved that, that initial moment when something clicks and you're like, oh, that's genius, so I was, and that's when that happened, and I said that, and I said my name, and Justin, Just Genius, and it, and art, Just Jenus Art, boom, and it just started from there. I had all little monikers, and so it's just, that one stuck, because I made it, and it felt right, always been, intellectual. Always like to be a Renaissance man and read as much as I can, learn as much as I can, and really truly view knowledge as power, as something I can get and use to, benefit myself and others. And that name came up, and it just felt right. And I've just been rolling with it ever since. I love it. Mm-hmm.